you're just absolutely crushing it with short form. How did the lighting thing come into it?
I started traveling like crazy in the last 3 years. I was literally building a studio every 2 weeks in any room you can think of.
If you could give a short masterclass in how to get the lighting to that next level, what are some of the key things to keep in mind?
The biggest change will be seen by
Simone Ferretti. The first time I saw you was when you were flicking your fingers on Facebook, and your video went from looking pretty average to looking really, really amazing. Tell me, what are some of the main problems or mistakes you see creators make when they create their videos, especially when it comes to lighting?
I think the biggest problem is definitely about lighting. So most people don't understand how important lighting is. They tend to overspend on camera, on several things, text, but lighting, even just a $100, $150 or $200 lighting can really make a huge difference, and positioning of that lighting is key. So if I can tell you, the biggest step would be to have a light and a softbox, which is basically just a diffuser, and that will create soft lighting on your face. It's just very flattering. And also this softbox should be as close as possible to your face, just out of frame. So in my case right now, I can literally touch it like here. I'm touching it now, but you don't see it. And that's why I can also have a very high quality light. This softbox, because I travel a lot, is actually very small. So you don't need to have a 120 centimeter softbox. This one is 50 centimeters. But if I can suggest you for one talking head person, I think 60 centimeters will be more than enough, in my opinion.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to definitely dig into some more of your setup there, because I mean, just look at the difference between our two setups here. I must admit, I did take some of your tips, but I haven't gone through your training yet, your full training to give me a proper setup. But I mean, it's my setup is okay, right? But compared to someone who hasn't spent any time on it, but I'm just going to flick between the two screens so that people can see this. So if you're listening to this, go and check this out on YouTube or where we have the long form video. We're going to flick between the two screens just so that people can appreciate the difference between this. And this is an interview. This is not even a pre-production, where like a full-on production. We're doing this live, this recording. So I'm going to flick between mine and Simone's video. So there's Simone's one. Just look at that. Just look at the nice soft.
Yours doesn't look too bad. Like don't be. Like I've seen a lot worse. So I think yours is definitely a great starting point, and then we could fix it with a few things for sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe you can give me a couple of tips. First of all, I want to just ask the question how you got into this, because and also in particular short form, because I think one of the key things I noticed about you was that you're just absolutely crushing it with short form, and short form is such a popular medium right now. But how did you get into short form, and how did the lighting thing come into it? Do you have a background do you go to like film school or something like that? How did you get into like short form, but also the lighting side of things?
So short film is because I used to be a professional videographer from 2017 to 2019 when I lived in Hong Kong. And then I moved to London to start university because I didn't have a bachelor and I was interested in like pursuing my studies and stuff. But then obviously 2020, COVID came around and I decided to start sharing what I knew on my time as a videographer on social media. And obviously because TikTok was blowing up in those months, then I decided to just go all in on short form. And since March 2020, I basically never stopped creating content. Also because I just love the fact that in 15, 20, 30 seconds, you can give so much value to the audience. Of course, YouTube plays a big part as well because you can go in depth about things, but it's just like in short form, you really, really, really need to be super concise in things. And I love to just know only the key parts of any sort of value that you're giving to the audience. And then the lighting side came because I started traveling like crazy in the last 3 years. So every 2 weeks I was changing apartment. And because I wanted to look professional in my YouTube content, in my short form, then I was literally building a studio every 2 weeks in any room you can think of. So I'm talking about garages, I'm talking about bedrooms, living rooms, corridors, kitchens. And then a few months back beginning of last year, I was like, you know what? I think I built skills that could be very helpful to people, because I can see that even on TV, people show up with the webcam and looking, sorry for the word, I don't want to be rude, but they just look horrible. And it's just like, you are an expert, you've studied, you're the best spokesperson about this topic, and yet you show up as a beginner with the webcam. And it's just like, I think if you look like the expert you are, you can grab attention so much faster, and you can prove your credibility, especially because right now, especially in live calls, not many people show up professionally. And that's why I was like, could be a game changer. Then I launched the program without much expectations, because I didn't think that the market would be so big. And then I started selling super well from day one. So after a few months, after proving the concept, I rebuilt the home studio blueprint 2.0 with a crazy quality in terms of visuals and materials, information. And now I'm very happy because over 3,200 entrepreneurs are inside the home studio blueprint. And I love seeing the transformations from going to amateur to professionals without spending crazy amounts, because that's also the goal. Me traveling so much is not that I have like hundreds of thousands to spend every time in a new studio. So I need to do it quite cheaply every time I move. And that's become my persona, basically.
Yeah, a couple of things just as you were saying that. First of all was, I've been doing video for a very long time, online video. And two things that I always mention to people is that two things you need for making your videos look good, or creating a good experience, at least for your viewer, is not what you think. The first one is your audio. Audio is, I think, still number one. But I think more recently, the visual side of your video has become really, really important too. But then when it comes to the visual side, it's not necessarily your camera. And I know you talk about this in some of your YouTube videos. Your camera is important, but it's not necessarily the main thing. When it comes to the lighting, that's really where the key difference is made. And before I ask you the next question, I just want to show people what you've been able to achieve so far, because I think it's really worth mentioning mentioning this to folks who haven't come across you before. If you look at Simone's Instagram channel, that's like almost 600,000 followers right now. So if you want to check it out, it's like sferro21, or just search for Simone Ferretti and you'll get there. There's another one that I would love to talk about more, because I think this is what people are really, really interested in. And this is an AI version of Simone. He's going to talk a little bit more about this. I want to ask him what he's doing here, because this has been growing super, super fast. Only February this year, I think you started it, right? And already 82,000 followers there. And, just on TikTok alone, there's like, over 800,000 followers. So Simone really knows what he's talking about, and I can't wait to find out more about the details. The next question I have, Simone, is if you could give someone a short masterclass in how to get the lighting ready for their videos, not just ready, but how to get it just to that next level, what would you tell them? Like, what are some of the key things to keep in mind, and some of the key bits of equipment that you need to just lift it to that next level so that you can stand out from the rest of the videos online right now?
So this is quite of an easy answer for me, because the biggest change will be seen by you using a softbox and a key light. The key light is just whatever equipment that emits light, and the softbox is the diffusion that you have on top of it. In terms of key light, you can find great deals for 100, 150 bucks, and you need to get a 60 watt light. You can get a more powerful one, but for one person talking head, you don't need any more than 60 watt. And then a softbox, as I said before, you just need a 50 to 60 centimeter softbox, and then you'll be able to achieve great results. Now, the positioning is super important. You want the light to be as close as possible, as I mentioned before. You want it to have it higher than your eye line, about 15 to 45 degrees in front of you. So there is the possibility to have it, let's say 45 degrees, in case you want to have a bit more contrast in your face, or you can have it, let's say 15 to 0 degrees, which means basically above the camera, if you want to have more evenly lit face. Now, the only thing that you need to think about whenever you're creating a studio is that first you need to light yourself up, and then you need to think about the background separately. So in this case, you can notice, if you look at this studio that I have right now, which is of course a temporary bedroom, you don't see, but I have the bed just next to me. And then I have the key light on me, and then I have a few background lights. So there is a floor lamp that I think is from Amazon, that was already in the apartment when I came in. Then I have a small pocket light that is illuminating this plant right here. And then on this side, I have the bedside lamp, which again was in the apartment. And then also I have a small pocket light right here, which allows me to create this nice line that is in the background, just to add a little bit of movement and action in the background, simulating this was a light coming from the window. So you always want to keep your windows closed, but you want to simulate things. You want to simulate emotions and actions by using lamps, floor lamps, fairy lights, pocket lights, anything that comes in your mind that you have in your apartment right now to illuminate the background separately from yourself. Was that clear
Yeah.
enough?
Yes. And I think something interesting that I noticed from your videos and your training is that you actually recommend that people don't use light coming in from, the window's natural light. So you actually tell people to just close it, and that's very interesting because that's contrary to how a lot of people tell others, experts tell people how to set up good lighting for the videos, especially on a budget. But I think this is not about just setting up an average looking video. You want to stand out, because I think in today's day and world where you've really got to do something different to stand out, your lighting becomes now all of a sudden a lot more important. So you can't just get light coming in from the window. So tell me a bit more about that. Like, what's the issue with not just using natural light coming in? Because sometimes you can get a really good look, but what's the issue with that?
So there are two main issues that I have with natural light. First of all, is that if you're creating content, even if you don't notice it, light that is coming from outside changes constantly. So your eyes don't notice it, but from 1 second to the next, the light can change a little bit. And then whenever you're creating content, you're in post-production, and then you need to cut out your footage because you made a mistake. Maybe you need to cut out pauses and stuff. You will see changes in exposure. And this is a clear indication of not professional content. So this is the main reason. The second reason is you cannot control the lighting, which means that if you want to create a darker background with natural light, it will be extremely difficult to control it. Maybe if you position yourself correctly, you will be able to achieve a nice result on your face. But the direction of the light, the intensity of the light, and the color of the light cannot be controlled. And that's why if you want to achieve an epic result, using natural light is just not the way to go. But again, the main problem is that natural light really changes constantly and we don't notice it. So it's going to create big problems, especially if you want to cut your content or edit it afterwards in post-production.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about that setup that you have there. You've mentioned the key light, you've mentioned the pocket lights, you've mentioned the lights that sort of comes with the apartment, which gives you that extra bit of depth or interest in the background. What are the? I mean, I'm assuming you're. It sounds like you're traveling, right? So you're in a hotel room or something. So tell
Correct.
me, I'm assuming you must have a relatively small kit of equipment that you're carrying with you, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't really be practical. So, would you mind sharing the key light that you're using and the pocket lights, the actual models and stuff like that, and they're sort of roughly the pricing? Is it an affordable thing, or do you need to be a total pro to use them?
Absolutely. No. These are super easy lights. The big difference that I didn't mention for the light before is that you want to have the key light at 5,600 Kelvin. This is basically the color of the sun. And then you want to match it with the white balance of your camera, which also you're going to use it at 5,600 Kelvin. Or when you change the white balance of your camera, you will see a sun. So you need to use that sun icon, and then the color of the key light should be 5,600 Kelvin. So this is like how you achieve this natural but warm skin texture. In terms of lighting, right now I'm using a small Godox ML100B. I'm not too sure about the pricing because the brand sent it to me, and because it's very small, I just started using it. I used to be a Nanlite ambassador for over 3 years. So Nanlite is one of the best lighting companies out there, together again with Godox, Aperture, and it doesn't, like, honestly, now I'm free to say whatever I want. It does not matter that much whatsoever, the brand. The all the professional lights call it like that. That if you spend above $100, you will get a professional light, and they're all basically the same as long as you have like 60 watts above. So that's like the intensity that you need for the key light. So this is a Godox ML100B, and then the softbox, I don't even know the name. Let me just check. Is an ML SF50. So it's like a 50 centimeter softbox. If you can get a 60 centimeters, because it's better, And then again, I have it positioned above my eye line, let's say 30 degrees coming from this side. And this is also why you see that this area is a little bit darker than this area, because obviously it's coming from the softbox. But then I have also a small pocket light that is outside of the frame that you don't see, to kind of lit up a little bit the back of my head and the head, because I don't want to be too dramatic. But if I turn that one off, like that, you can see a bit more the contrast. So now I'm a little bit darker. So that small pocket light, again, is another Godox. Let me just check the names, because I changed them recently, because I got sent this. I think it's in Godox M1. So this is very, very small. It's just on a pocket tripod. And I travel a lot. So everything that you see here in terms of equipment that travels with me fits within a 23 kg luggage, together with all my clothes and sports stuff, whatever. So it is a very, very compact setup, but that's also what I teach, and that's also what I like, because you don't need to have 20,000 worth of equipment in order to look good. Then this one, which is one of my favorite pieces of equipment, it costs around like maybe $50, 50 euros, something like that. It's a small rig, 10-watt torch that allows to change. These are called gobos on top of it. So in this case, I have like a line, but then you can have a window effect, you can have a lighting, you can have whatever you want on top of it. It comes already with a ton of those shapes. Then you have it in top of it. Here you go. Then you can change the color. It has 3 colors: red, orange, blue, and white. And then based on the position of this, obviously you can create different effects. I keep this auto frame because, again, it's just simulating that is a window light, probably something like that. Looks all right. Yeah. And then the floor lamp, again, is just, it was already inside the apartment. And then I have another pocket light similar to the Godox M1. Again, these are really pocket lights. They stay in my pockets, and that's why it's so important. Then regarding the kit, obviously I have the microphone, because as you said, audio is super important. So this is a Shure MV7 Plus, which I absolutely love. Reason being is because it's also USB-C, so I can connect it directly to my laptop, which I have in front of me. And then I have a very cheap podcast arm that it's attached to the table that I am in right now. And then the last piece of equipment that for me is super important is the teleprompter. So this is the Elgato teleprompter, which is a little bit bulky, but you can dismantle it quite well. But this is amazing because not only I can put all the script and all the text that I want in front of me, but I can also do live calls as I'm doing with you right now, and I can look directly in your eyes while still looking great and using my camera as a webcam. And then obviously I have a bunch of cables to connect all these things. But overall, it's very lean, I would say.
I've got the Elgato teleprompter on right now as well. Quick question on that. Do you find that it changes does it add a little bit of a tint to the color of your videos at all, or not? You haven't noticed anything strange?
It makes it slightly darker, but to be honest, it's almost unnoticeable. So yeah, it doesn't really affect me that much.
Okay. Before we switch gears, because I want to talk about what you've done with the growth of your channels, and especially what you're doing with the AI stuff as well. That looks really, really interesting. One more question on your setup there, and it's your particular setup there, right where you are right now, but also in general, because I think a lot of people have relatively small spaces. Like I'm in a bigger room here, but I've taken actually just a small part of the room. It's just a very small corner here. This is about a 2x3 sort of sized room. But one of the things I've seen that you're really good at is taking smaller spaces and making them look like it's a huge space. I saw one of your testimonials. One of the guys was talking about how he's been an entrepreneur for 10 years. And he's been looking at this, trying to make it look really good for 10 years. And it's like all of a sudden he went through a course and now his studio looks like $1 million sort of a thing. And it was much easier than he thought, and it's much smaller than he thought as well. What are some of your tips there for like room size and what you do with the background there? Because I think I can't even tell how big the area is that you're in now, but I think you mentioned that it's quite small. But what are some of the key tips you have there for what you put in the back and how you make it look awesome?
So this is I could talk for hours about this. The main thing is regarding your space is about choosing the right lens. And you can pick several lenses depending on several things, but in general you need to think about how wide the lens is, and especially we need to understand that the aperture of the lens is what makes it look very professional. So in general, there are two types of lenses. One is zoom lens and one is a prime lens. Zoom lenses are very versatile, but they're very useful when you're outdoor and you need more different focal length with the same lens. But in studio, you don't change the position of the camera whatsoever. So you want to get a prime lens. This is because prime lenses, they have a much lower aperture number, which creates this bokeh effect. Aperture is also identified with an F. So let's say f1.4, f1.8, f2.8. Prime lenses, they can go down to f1.2. Right now, I'm using a 24 millimeter f1.4. But then if you use a zoom lens, I think the minimum you can go down to is f2.8, which is still okay. But then if you go for a cheaper lens, you might go down only to f3.5 or f5.6, which is not enough to have this professional bokeh effect. So I'm in focus right now, but everything else in the background is autofocus because I'm using an f1.4 and I'm very close. Generally, if you have a very, very, very small space, I would use a wide lens. So I would call it a 24 millimeter or maybe a 35 millimeter. But if you have potentially a little bit of a bigger space, or you have a bit more depth in your room, you can use a 50 millimeter. And this will allow you to blur the background even more and compress the background even more. So a wide lens will allow you to take more of the background in case you need to stay very, very close to the background. But then if you can move a little bit more away from the background, then you can use maybe a 50 millimeter. And therefore, because it's more compressed, you will need actually a smaller portion of the background to be on camera. I know that this is quite complicated. In the course, I show all the different examples with all the different lenses just so that people can understand exactly, because it's kind of like it applies to different rooms with different lenses for different people. And then also what's important regarding the background is that, first of all, the most important thing is like whenever you want to analyze a room to then create a studio, you want to try to identify the spot that has the most depth and where you can actually stay as far as possible from the background. So this what creates depth, staying as far as possible from the background. And I can still see today a lot of people, they just try to create videos and then they literally touch the wall behind them with their back. And that's like the biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes that I see. So try to stay as far as possible from the background, and then automatically it will be better because you will create that separation, that bokeh effect that makes it look very professional. In terms of the background, as I said, there are a billion different options that you can choose. And in general, you want to light up the background. So most people, they just use maybe good elements in the background, but then they don't add any lights. As we analyzed before, I have 4 lights in the background. So this is key to create that separation. So we are lighting up the background separately from myself. So you can use, again, things that you have in your house. You don't have to buy professional stuff unless you want to and you want to really take it to the next level to light up the background. But the key light on you needs to be professional because of the quality of light. Then regarding items, I've created backgrounds, again, in any space, even with very, very simple items. Most likely, you just need a floor lamp and one plant. This would create already an amazing effect. So plants are usually a constant element in my backgrounds because they just look so good. Then obviously you can use potentially a bookshelf where you can add items on top of it. You can use textured elements. So in this case, on my side, I have the window that is covered with blackout curtains. And this is also why it looks really nice, because there is one side that has texture and then I have a plain wall on the opposite side to then create that contrast. Then another element that you should think about is symmetry and balance. So I see a lot of people potentially putting a plant on one side and then leaving it completely empty on the other side. This doesn't work because our eyes love symmetry and balance. So if you analyze again my studio right now, I have a bigger plant on one side with a small bed lamp. And then on the other side, I have a floor lamp, which is a little bit bigger and a smaller plant. So big plant versus floor lamp and small plant. So these elements kind of balance themselves out. Then because on this side, where I have the big plant is a little bit emptier on the top area, then I placed this small rig torch that creates the window effect. So this is how I think about my background. Try to find balance between right and left hand side, try to find texture, and if I can, a little bit of symmetry.
Man, I can tell that you've been studying this really deeply, and there's, I mean, I can tell there's a lot more you want to say about it, but that's already like incredibly useful stuff that I'm definitely going to be using in this new-ish studio that I've just set up here. So thank you for that. That's super, super useful. I think I can do a lot here. I tried to sort of balance my plants a little bit, but you know, I think it's a little bit unbalanced. Like for example, this picture
Correct.
here is probably a little bit out of whack. I probably need something on this side as well, or you know, there's some balancing act that I've got to do here. I don't have much texture, so I want to play with that. Maybe colors. I think there's a lot I can do with this room. So thank you for that. That's already given me a lot of ideas that I can play with. I mean, just those, the pocket lights that you've got, and the other directional pocket light that you mentioned as well. That one looks really cool to get some more definition on the background
100%.
as well. Yeah,
Yes,
I think that's
and in
going to
that
make a big
side
difference.
where you're empty on the side on top of your books.
So,
Yeah, that side, correct. If you just add this torch with the window effect, it will create, or even just a line like this. But I use the line because I have already the texture on the curtains. But if you want, you can add the window effect, and this will improve it very much, and will make that side of the wall that looks empty. It's not going to be empty anymore when you add that window effect. So it's going to be already a big improvement. Then another thing that I just want to touch upon is the color scheme. So it's very, very important to think about the colors that you want in your studio. Right now, you can see that I have a very warm studio because I just want to feel it cozy. I want to feel it elegant, and I want to feel it premium as well. Then in other studio, I like it to use, let's say, very dark, because there has been a study that says that men, they respond very well to darker colors, probably like because it looks more like stronger, more like manly, whereas girls, they prefer more white, warm, and not that dark. So when somebody asks me about color schemes, I always say, think about your target. If you are a gamer, if you are a YouTuber, you can play around a little bit more with colors. But if you sell luxury homes in Aspen, you want to try to look premium and look like cozy. So think about the houses potentially that you sell in Aspen. What kind of colors do they use? What material they're using? What do they have, let's say, as a coffee table, as a table? And those are elements that you should have in your background as well, to identify with the customers that you're trying to sell to. So it's also about that. And in general, I always recommend to have the key light, as I said, 5,600 Kelvin, and then the background, it looks really good with a combo of warm light and white light, cold light. Warm light is also identified as 2,700 Kelvin. And this is like the color scheme that I have right now. And again, it just looks very warm, very elegant, and not too distracting. In your case, if I could give you some feedback, is that it looks very white, so very cold. Potentially, you can try to play around with warmer lights, like the one that you have behind you that is kind of illuminating the plant. It could be potentially, I think, we can explore to have it more warm and see the effects that we have. That one is okay, the one that you have on next to the books, but the one that you have behind you, on that side, that one, I can see there is a light that is pointing towards up. You can try to have it warm and see how it looks.
Okay. That's uber useful. The one thing that's always a challenge for me is trying to fit things into the space. And I ran out of time a little bit for this one, but I would have loved to like put a plant on, over here that's a little bit higher or something, but I don't have access to one. But having that little light that I can just shine onto the wall gives me like way more options for small spaces. It means I don't need
100%.
an object. I can just shine the light onto the background, and that'll create more texture to make it a lot more interesting. So that's really, really useful. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. No worries.
Okay, well, I know there's a lot more that you can say about that, but I would encourage people to actually, I'll mention this already. Go to your website. We'll probably have like a QR code on here that you can scan. But if you're listening to this, or if you don't have a phone to scan this, I think what's the best place to send them to already go and check this out, Simone? Is it just to go to this
The
website
Instagram
address here?
page.
Our Instagram page is the best
Yeah,
one.
so just the Instagram page, the link in bio, it's gonna bring you to my landing page for the home studio blueprint as of now, or maybe a new program that we're gonna have launching soon. But that's Instagram. You'll be able to find everything.
All right. So if you're listening to this, search for Simone Ferretti on Instagram. It's SFERRO21 is the handle. And then, check out the link in bio to go to his landing page here, which is where he's talking a bit more about that course. Definitely encourage. I'm definitely going to get a copy of that because I want to really take this to the next level. So, like I said, I think there's a lot more that I can learn from this, and you've already given us a ton of really awesome information on that. I want to switch gears a little bit here and talk about what you've been able to achieve in terms of your audience growth, because I think it's one thing to make your videos look great, but it's another thing to actually grow an audience and get followers and get those people to then go to your website and sign up for your lead magnet and buy your products and services, because or some people just want to get views so they can get advertising sort of revenue. Either or, you need the views, you need the eyeballs. Tell me, what are some of the key things you've done to grow your channels? Because your Instagram, for example, is sitting at almost 600,000 followers. That's awesome. So I'm not sure how long you've been running this one for, but you mentioned this AI one that's only been running since was it February or March this year, and it's now
February
November?
1st, yes.
Yeah, February 1st.
Yeah.
So it's now November of the same year. So hasn't even been a year yet, and you're already sitting on 82,000 followers for that one. Can you share with us a few little tricks or a few little tips on what we can do to help us grow our followings on social media? And I guess you can stick to just Instagram if you want to. I know you've done really well on TikTok as well, but let's stick to Instagram for this. What are some of the biggest tips you can give people for how the heck you do it? How do you actually get the followers? How do you get the views? How do you get the followers? What are some of the key things you tell people?
So, first of all, I wanted to clarify one thing regarding mindset. Social media, it's very hard because at the beginning, it's just a flat line. So your first 20, 50, 100 videos, you'll probably receive no views at all. But then it compounds very quickly if you're good enough, and then you just improve it, and then you can lose only if you stop. This is my view on how I have it on social media. It will grow as long as you don't give up, in my opinion. And I wanted to test it with an experiment on my AI channel from February 1st, and clearly is working. And I proved it again. And now we are replicating this as well with my girlfriend, and started blowing up after a month and a half. So it's very exciting, but it is hard at the beginning, man, because there's no one is gonna come and say, "Oh, amazing videos." No one is gonna give you any reward. You're not getting paid a single penny in the first few months, and sometimes, especially let's say for YouTube, is like years. So what I would say is that, first of all, start with the right mindset and don't expect to blow up after 20 videos, because this is not going to happen whatsoever. Especially because I think now platforms are taking a bit more. I don't think it's that easy to grow a new account nowadays. You just need to really, really keep going. And if you look at my main channel, I posted over 1,330 videos. And then the AI one is 250 something, right? So this is like, if you let it sink in, for one post a day, it's a long time, 1,350 posts. You know what I mean? Plus, sometimes I had to delete some because maybe they had problems. So I posted even more than that. And that's a lot. It's like, it's a lot of consistency right there. And the quality that I post is not like a selfie video that takes 10 seconds to make. It takes hours and hours. So there is a lot going on in the behind the scene, even though people think it's just about posting. But for me, when I talk to people, it's all about giving value. if you want people to follow you, if you want to get views, it's all about giving value. The reason being is because when we think about social media, we think about an algorithm. But the algorithm is nothing but simply providing what people like to other people, to try to explore and get people to stay on the platform as much as possible. Because how does Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok how do they make money? They make money by selling advertising. How do they sell advertising? Is that if they have eyeballs. How do they keep eyeballs? Well, because people want to stay in the platform because they see and they scroll on content they like. As long as whenever they see content they don't like, they're going to go away, and then they're just not gonna earn money for Instagram, right? So it's all about thinking about people rather than the algorithm. This is, I think, very important. And if you provide value to people, then the algorithm will reward you. So there are two ways on how potentially you could grow and keep people on the platform as long as possible. That's always your goal. First is entertaining content. Second is educational content. Entertainment content is let's call it Mr. Beast. So you're not teaching people anything, but you just trying to entertain them in any sort of way possible. The value is obviously is because they are entertained and therefore they want to stay on the platform and you will be rewarded. Otherwise, there is the other one, which I prefer and I love. I don't teach entertainment content whatsoever, but I do teach educational content, because educational content is simply about teaching people what you know. And many people think that they need to be an expert in something in order to teach that thing, but that's not true. You just need to be one step ahead of the one behind you. And that's why whenever you're thinking about providing value, you should think about anybody that is one step behind you. So you don't need to be an expert in any topic. You just need to teach what you just learned yesterday. You don't have to spend hours and hours and become a master and get a license in Photoshop in order to teach Photoshop. You can take a course on Photoshop today, and then from tomorrow, you start making one video a day on whatever you learned the day before. It's like, it's simpler than you think, but it's also more complicated than you think, because obviously the consistency and then finding the idea is not that easy, and then so on and so forth. It just takes a long time. If you think that creating a 15-second video with a lot of value, it's easy, then you are in the wrong place. It's a game that takes a very long time to find the right ideas, to tweak, to adjust to whatever is working, and then to just keep going until you see any sort of reward, whether it is from brand partnership or whether it is from conversion via your own products. In my opinion, if you want to monetize it, there are two main ways. One is, again, brand partnerships, and the other one is selling your own products. Brand partnerships are very difficult and they require like quite of a long time and requires quite of a big numbers. Whereas if you want to sell your own products, even if you have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 followers, if they are the right followers, then you can already start selling quite quickly. So this is what I would say in order to provide the faster growth possible. It's just thinking about value, 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 and what you know now that you wish you knew yesterday or last week or last year.
Okay, I just want to touch on that a little bit more before because I really want to ask you about the AI stuff that you're doing, because I think that's solving another really huge problem, especially for entrepreneurs who are very busy. But you mentioned value a few times now, like providing value, and you've touched on it a little bit. But how would you define value for your audience when you're creating content? How do you come up with an idea that you think would be valuable for your viewers?
So finding ideas, again, is another big topic, and it changes throughout your growth, but at the very beginning, I would say try to look at what other people are doing in your niche or also outside your niche, and then do it with your own touch. So at the beginning, when you're starting out from scratch, I would say feel free to copy what other people are doing, because nobody is going to watch your content and you're just trying to learn how to make videos. But then as soon as you understand how the game works, then you need to add your own touch to any value, to any idea. And I think that the easiest way is to break down any sort of processes or anything that you're doing in your niche, and then try to find videos and ideas on those processes. And I can tell you, for example, applied to my case, I teach how to create home studios. And then if I break down how to create a home studio, I can think about lighting, camera placement and settings, background, and audio. So these are four major pillars that I could talk about and make videos of. So let's take, for example, lighting. What is the lighting that I need for a home studio? Well, what kind of light I need to buy, what positions, what settings I need to use, what happens when I change the position of the lighting, what happens if I put the lighting a little bit lower, a little bit higher, what happens if I change the color. These are all ideas that I could make videos of. So I started with the beginning, the process of creating a home studio. Then I break things down, and then any step of this process can be also an idea. Another thing could be, for example, if you're a marketer, you can showcase how to do little tricks that you do with your companies, or that you do for Facebook ads, or that you do with Canva templates, like basically breaking down your processes and workflows on what you do on a daily basis, and then teach those things that you do, and also something that maybe you did last week but that you learned how to do better this week. So it's about looking in your daily life and see what you're doing that other people would find interesting. This is how I would approach things.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. So let's take a look at this AI stuff that you've been doing, because before the call you mentioned that you've been building this new channel here. So this is, if you want to check it out, Sferro. So Sferro, SFERRO.ai. If you check that out on Instagram. So this is a channel that started in February. It's now November. It's already got 82,000 followers. And this is all AI content, right? So there's images and videos of you here, but it's the AI version of you, right? So and what we talked about, just so others know, is that one of the huge things that this can solve for you in terms of bottlenecks is the production of the videos. So you don't have to be in the videos yourself anymore. It can be an AI avatar or a clone of you. All right. So tell me a bit about what's happening with this channel, what you're doing here, how you're doing it. What are your insights from this? What are the big pain points, and what are the opportunities here for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so as soon as I started, I was trying to scale up my content machine, right? Because the bottleneck is always the entrepreneur. If you want to build a personal brand, if you want to do things with your face and just be recognized, the bottleneck is always yourself. And then I've always been interested in the AI space because I love automating stuff. I love tech in general. So I kept exploring for quite a long time. And then this tool called HeyGen came up with a new model at the beginning of this year that was like, it looked really, really realistic. And I'm like, you know what if I could run an entire Instagram channel with my face without me touching anything? So I looked around and I tried to find a team that would help me do this. Obviously, we're still doing a few things manually because some AI tools are not there yet, for example, video editing. But the idea at the beginning was try to use and, again, grow my personal brand without me being the one recording. So I don't want to know anything about I don't want to know anything about that channel. I just want a team that runs everything without my presence. So we created this avatar of mine on HeyGen. And then I had a team doing the research, scripting, editing, and posting. And we started on February 1st this year, and now we are in November. So it's been about 10 months. And we grew to 83,000 followers, and I managed to monetize it incredibly well. And I was not expecting this. I thought it would be about a year or two before I could get back the investment of the team that is managing it. But then after 3 months, I started getting already brand partnerships. And the idea was teach people how to use AI tools. So that niche that I decided that I wanted to go in, because obviously, again, I love AI and I love all these new tools. I love to test things and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, let's just test these tools, and then we're just going to make videos of the tools that we test. And that's exactly what's happening. We've been posting one video a day, every day since February 1st. But again, without my input, without me being there, I don't even check the videos anymore that go up there because my team has been trained very, very well. and I trust them fully. And it's amazing because 83,000 followers in 10 months is insane, considering that I spent basically 0 minutes, 0 hours on it. So it's really, really cool because the avatars now are so realistic. Because the main question that I get asked is like, oh, but like people can recognize it. It's like fake, is it AI? And the answer is almost impossible. Even my mom really struggles with it, especially because you use some editing tricks to mask it out whenever maybe the avatar does some gestures that are not like human like, because it happens. It's not perfect yet 100%, but it's already good enough to make it happen. Now, the opportunity of this is huge. Reason being is because whenever you're scaling your own brand, your personal brand, you will need to do ads. You need to do YouTube content. You need to do courses. You need to do short form content. You need to do VSLs. You need to do so many things that require your presence in front of the camera. And as an entrepreneur, you just don't have time. Time is the most precious resource of anybody. And this solves a massive problem because you don't need to be in front of the camera anymore. I could have a team. I could have a team of 100 people creating thousands of pieces of content every single day with my face, saying what I want to say, but without me actually being there. And it's the opportunity of this is unreal. And every time I was speaking to any entrepreneur friend and stuff like this, they were like all blown away. And even if I don't have plan, I don't want to create an agency to do this, but it seems like I really need to do this right now because the opportunity is gigantic. And I believe that the social media space will go towards that AI avatar side of things, which is a little bit scary, but at the same time is like either you embrace it or you're going to be left behind.
100%. I'm just looking at the channel here. I'm kind of blown away because I didn't see this before our call. You just sort of showed it to me as we started talking, and I'm just blown away by what's happening here. I'm just looking at some of these pinned videos you got here, like 49,000, 88,000, 1.8 million views, 5,000 views, 6,000, 26,000, 4,000, 8,000. These are not your. It doesn't look like you're stuck in like the 300 jail or anything like that. And this is AI content. It's not the real you. It's an AI version of you.
My avatar is my cloned voice, and with the right tools and tricks, you can make it look extremely realistic. And especially everything actually starts with the studio. If you do an avatar that looks bad, I think you won't be able to get to this level. But if you start with your studio, you look great, you record yourself once for 5 minutes, you create the avatar, this can run forever. So it's just incredible. And if you look at the fourth video where you see like a girl and myself, that one has that one that we posted last night, it's me and my girlfriend, because as I said, I wanted to create an avatar for my girlfriend as well, because I want to grow her account as well to prove again that this works. And then it's been growing already. In a month and a half, we are, I think it's 700 followers, which seems low, but it's not low because usually it's like very flat. And we've been flat for the last 60 days. And then the last week started picking up. And now I believe that if you look it back in maybe in a month or two time, we're going to be several thousand. That's my prediction. And I'm so excited because proving it again is just amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I just want to touch on a couple of things. One of the things you just mentioned there was, I'm not sure if people caught on to that, but to be able to create a good-looking avatar, you've got to train the AI, right? So the best way to train that is with good data. And so what we've just been talking about at the beginning of this call today was how to set up a nice-looking studio with good lighting. So the sound becomes, I guess, less important. I suppose you got to train it with good audio too, but now, if you can train the AI with a good visual with your home studio or whatever studio you have, that becomes the input to be able to create these great-looking AI versions of yourself. So this is one thing. The other thing that I hope people got from this is that, for 17 or 18 years that I've been doing this, the number one pain point for people, and entrepreneurs especially, has been the production side of the videos, like the recording and the editing. It's like if that can just be taken out of the equation, then everybody will do it. And I think what's happening here is this is exactly what's happening. You know, the whole production side, the recording and the editing side, maybe not the editing as much yet, but the recording side, it means you don't have to go and sit in front of a camera. So it means you don't have to spend or dedicate the time to go and sit in front of the camera, set up your studio every time and make sure all the lighting is perfect, all the sound and everything's perfect. You can, if you've got it trained, you can just go and say, hey, AI, go and create a video about X. Or, hey, AI, go and create a video about Y. So it sounds like you still have a team that does the editing by the sounds of it, but I'm guessing even that will get replaced by AI in the relatively near future. What's your thoughts on that, the editing side of things?
So right now, there are some tools that create decent edits, but I believe my level of output is very high, and therefore I still use manual editors. But I do believe they're gonna just improve it, and I can see already huge improvements from a few months back. So it will get there, in my opinion. Just we're not there yet for the editing side. Whenever you require top level quality, if you are a beginner and you need a cheap way to edit, then you can use AI tools, and you can use. There are a couple ones that I think I really like. One is called Opus Clip, and the other one is called Captions. So these two tools, they already allow some sort of AI editing that also adds B-rolls, add captions, add a bit of movement and stuff like that. Especially captions, I think is better. Then you can start with that, and then potentially you can, if you decide that you like doing this and you want to move further, then you can hire editor potentially, or just see how the AI advances. Yeah, but again, it's just like when we talk about entrepreneurs, their time is the most important one, and then if they can offload that and then just be out of the picture, then all the machine can run without them, and that's I think the game changing part.
Amazing. Simone, we are getting towards the end of this. I just want to remind people again about where they can go to find out more about you. So I think the main place to go is to send them to your main Instagram. So if you search for Simone Ferretti or Sfero21, you'll get there. Go there and check out the link in bio for Simone and go to his course. Definitely sign up for that. I'm going to definitely go through that because I need more help to get my studio looking just basically like yours. But really recommend everyone else go and check that out as well. But really, I think everyone also should check out the sfero.ai one on Instagram as well to see what you're doing. And this is where the future is going. Just one thing, are you going to be teaching people about this, or is this more an agency thing that you're going to be doing perhaps in the future, or are you still sort of figuring out the thoughts about that?
No, we are building a new program that will be much bigger in terms of scope rather than the home studio blueprint. So the home studio blueprint is only the home studio creation. And then the new one will be about content creation and AI and monetization side of things. So the motto is now AI X content creation equals money, because I feel that's my strength, and that's what we are building right now. Hopefully we'll be out in January 2026. And if you want to join the wait list, you find the link in my AI account. So sfero.ai, there is a link in bio, and that's the wait list for that program, which will be out hopefully in a couple of months. And I'm super excited about that because it's just such an incredible time to be in the content creation space.
This one right here.
Yeah, that's correct. This is just the wait list because as of right now, we don't have anything published yet. And then, yeah, we are thinking actually to do the agency side of the thing to just manage a personal branch of entrepreneurs. But I do love having like a bigger impact on more people rather than just focusing maybe on a handful of them. I don't know. I'll think about that. But it's very exciting.
Simone, this was one of my favorite interviews of all time. I really, really enjoyed it. And one of the reasons one of my favorites is because it's so practical, because I think there's straight after this call, I'm going to be looking at those lights. I'm going to order them, get them in so that I can set this up here in my own studio. I'm already going to make some changes here. Uber useful, but then also not just that, but also thinking about how that can impact what I can do with AI later on, which is really, really cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. That was really, really good. Really appreciate it. And everyone, definitely go and check out Simone's stuff. Thank you so much, Simone.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to grow your influence with daily short form videos, Voobly makes it effortless. Post everywhere, be seen everywhere. Try it free at voobly.ai. I'll see you in the next episode.